star shines down, down on the ground she lies, under an earthly mound. That's where her spirit lies. Rim, rim, under the red rock rim, under the red rock rim. She was young, so fair, she didn't lie, you see.
There he is, right on time again.
Yep, in the middle of the night.
You know, we can thank our brother Adam for bringing in that singing troubadour to give the whole family insomnia.
Roams around all night strumming that blamed guitar. Reckon where he goes.
I know, I like him to go.
Well, ain't likely I'll doze off again tonight. Might as well get up.
See face.
Hey, Joe, come here.
What's he doing?
Looks like he hurt his arm somehow.
Well, he didn't hurt it bad enough. He can still strum that guitar.
Yeah. Keeps playing that same song.
Yeah, it's a strange one. You know, the boys in the bunkhouse were telling me he found a coyote in a trap the other day. He strangled it with his bare hands.
I think we ought to talk to Paul about getting rid of him.
Well, either that or Adam's going to have to tie him up at night. I got to get some sleep.
Yeah, me too.
She was so young, so fair, cheated and lied, you see. So with a deadly care, he set her spirit free.
Good morning, Dan.
Hey, you want that we should get started on the corral fence today?
Oh, yeah, as soon as my brothers finish their leisurely breakfast. Whoa. Well, morning, Mr. Johnson.
Morning,
Mary.
Adam.
Hello there, Adam.
Let me give you a hand.
Well, the missus finished making them preserves for your pa, so we thought we'd bring them over to you. And return that plow you were nice enough to lend to us, I think.
You're quite welcome. You know, Mary, if these preserves are as good as the ones you made last year, well, I think we're going to praise you all winter long.
Well, I hope you like them, Adam.
Here, let me help you, ma'am. These.
Thank you, Danny.
Hey, all of them at once?
You don't know his strength.
Well, my goodness.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I'll show you where they go.
I'll give you a hand with this plow.
Be careful. Huh? Oh, well, music, instruments like that, tools of the devil. We drove through town on the way in here, Adam. The devil sure worked his will in there last night.
Morning, Mr. Johnson. What's all this talk about the devil on such a nice, bright, sunny morning?
Well, I was just telling Adam here there was a killing last night.
Oh, yeah? Trouble in the saloon?
No, this was a crime of passion. The widow Baker was murdered.
But who'd want to kill her?
Poor woman. Hey, got any idea who did it?
No, not yet. The maid come in to clean up the parlor this morning, and there she was, dead.
All she did was run a high-stake card game in the back parlor. And an honest one at that.
Honest? Her with her gambling cards?
The sheriff have any leads?
Oh, the sheriff's out of town, but the deputy, Jeff Sykes, he says it must have been a powerful man with mighty strong hands.
Why'd he say that?
Well, because of the marks on her neck. You see, the widow was strangled to death. Well, thanks again, Mr. Cartwright, for the loan of the plow.
Yeah, let me help you up, man.
Oh, thank you, little Jim.
Thank you for the preserves.
You're welcome. Goodbye to you.
Bye-bye. Howdy, Jeff.
Howdy, Ben.
You had some trouble in town.
Yeah, Ben, I'd like a word with Adam.
Adam?
Morning, Jeff. What can I do for you?
About this fellow Morgan, Adam. What do you know about him?
Oh, not much, except he did me a little favor a couple of years ago.
What kind of a favor?
Oh, like saving my life.
Is that all you know about him?
What's to know?
Your friend Danny was heard last night singing around the Widow Baker's. Just about the time she was strangled to death.
Yeah, well, we heard about the widow. He's been heard singing at night all over the territory, so what does that prove?
I want to see him anyway.
As you say.
Hey, Dan.
Danny, the sheriff wants to talk to you a minute.
Sure. What about, Sheriff?
Roll up them sleeves. Look at that arm. Those are some pretty deep scratches. I think you better come along with me.
What for?
Widow Baker didn't die easy. She fought for her life. We found bits of skin and blood underneath her fingernails.
Lonely as he can be, riding on endlessly, lonely as he can be, his spirit never free. Rim, rim, under the red rock rim, that's where to look for him. Rim, rim, that's where to look for him. Under the red rock rim, rim, rim.
Widow Baker must have had about $10,000 hidden around that house of hers. She never used a bank account.
That's a mighty good motive for robbery and murder, $10,000.
Evening, Felix, Bubba.
Howdy, William.
You know, they should take that guitar away from him.
He's practicing for a harp.
Not where he's going.
A woman has just been strangled to death, gentlemen. I don't find that a very humorous situation. It's Adam Cartwright we have to thank for bringing a man like Morgan into our midst.
Evening, Sheriff. Got a lot of help outside.
Yeah, they got Morgan tried and hung before I even pressed a formal charge.
Can I see him?
Oh, I suppose you can, Adam. But the only thing I can get out of him is the words to that song. Oh, Adam. Let me know when you're ready to leave.
Real trouble, Danny.
I ain't done nothing, Adam.
Where were you last night?
Riding. Just riding. Looking at the stars and watching Orion's belt.
So now you hurt your arm on Orion's belt?
My arm? My horse stumbled and I sort of fell against some thorny briars. Well, that's how it happened, Adam. I mean, I sort of stumbled. You remember the time your horse stumbled when you were crossing the Poker Flats?
Yeah. I remember. Listen, Danny. You were hurt around the widow's place last night. And the card game there broke up about 2 o'clock this morning. When some of the players were leaving, they heard you singing off in the night someplace.
Well, she gave me $1 for fixing the fence for yesterday. A whole $1 for just that fence. Well, singing a song was the least I could do for that whole $1.
How long were you outside the house?
Sheriff's been asking me the same questions, Adam. Have you got to, too?
Well, just trying to find out what really happened.
I done told you, Adam. I ain't done nothing. I ain't killed nobody.
Alrighty. I may be a minority of one, but I believe it.
Sheriff? Hey, Adam? When are they gonna let me out of this place?
We'll see what we can do. Did you get anything out of him? No, just that he denies hurting anybody.
Well, that ain't enough to prove him innocent.
It doesn't prove him guilty either.
Hey, singing man, sing us another tune.
Yeah, we're tired of that old one. Make it a new one.
How about dancing from the end of a rope?
yeah, end of a rope.
They could get pretty nasty.
I can handle him.
Just sitting there stewing and not eating your supper isn't going to help anybody.
Danny's locked in a cell, while the respectable folk of Virginia City stand outside his window and tell him that he's going to be hanged, and the sooner the better. Is that the kind of stuff you build an appetite on?
Well, they're wrong, of course. But that doesn't necessarily make you altogether right, either. He could be guilty.
A voice in the dark and a scratch in the arm is not proof.
He came here looking for a stake. $10,000 make a mighty big stake.
Look, when he saved my life, I was half out of my head. There was $3,000 in my saddlebags. He knew it was there. Told me later. He could have taken all the money, left me there to die. And no one would have been any the wiser.
Maybe you're right. Some people are harder to figure than others.
Yeah. He's different. But that doesn't automatically make him a dangerous killer. What are you doing out of jail?
Well, I just couldn't take it no more, Adam. I was all closed in, nothing but walls. I couldn't see the sky. Not even one star.
Well, how did you get out?
Well, the sheriff, when he brought me my supper, well, I grabbed him.
Oh, Danny didn't hurt him, did you?
No, sir. I wouldn't hurt nobody. I just grabbed him and wrestled the keys away from him.
Where'd you leave him?
In the cell. I couldn't take him to no other place. Well, he's all right, Adam, honest. I just couldn't take it no more. Well, I ain't running away, Mr. Cartwright. Nothing like that. I just couldn't stay locked up no more, Adam.
Well, you're just gonna have to go back.
Back to jail?
Yeah, back to jail.
Please, Adam,
All right, don't worry about it. Going out to the bunkhouse.
Why'd you do that?
Town's in an ugly mood.
Adam, he broke jail.
Look, it's gonna be better this way all around. Stays away one night, I take him back tomorrow.
You're sure sticking your neck out. Way out.
It's my neck. Take him some food. He didn't have any supper.
Hey, how'd Danny get out of jail?
He broke out.
He broke out? How come you let him ride off?
What?
Since I was coming out of the barn, I seen him riding off.
If he's gone for good, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, Adam.
If he'd wanted to escape, he never would have come back here. Here, take care of that. I'm gonna ride in and tell the sheriff what's happened.
I'll go with you.
No, never mind. If Danny's my problem, I'll take care of it.
Tell him we'll start as soon as there's light. We'll meet here.
Bob?
Well, your innocent friend escaped. Locked me in my own jail.
I know.
You know? How could you know? I'm a deputy. Just let me out.
He came out to the ranch.
Why didn't you bring him in?
He didn't stay.
Didn't stay? You mean you let him go?
I intend to bring him back in the morning. And believe me, he's not trying to escape. He just wandered off, but he'll be back.
You danged right he'll be back. I'm bringing him back with a posse. I was going to wait till there's light, but now that I know where he's been, I'm riding just as soon as I get the men.
Jeff, give him till morning. I know he'll come back.
You brought him to this community. You've been aiding and abetting him ever since. Now stay out of it, Adam. From now on, I'll handle Morgan.
It's only me.
Danny Morgan, you just don't touch me. You stay away from me.
I wouldn't touch you, Miss Johnson.
Just stay away from me.
You're afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me, Miss Johnson. Well, I was riding by and I saw you standing here at the well. Just wanted a drink of fresh well water.
You're supposed to be in jail.
Oh. Yes, ma'am, I know. But I just couldn't stay there no more. I couldn't see the sky or the stars. I just couldn't stay there no more, ma'am. Especially at nighttime. I can't be closed in at nighttime. I've got to be out where I can ride them hills.
So, I've heard you at night.
Well, I hope I didn't bother you none with my singing.
Oh, no, you didn't. It helps with the loneliness. It gets lonely without children. Well, I guess I better get my pail.
I'll do it. I like children too, Miss Johnson. The little ones. Now, they see the trees and the grass and the sky. They really see things when they look.
I think I understand what you mean. Thank you.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Help him.
Who was that? Was it that murdering devil, Morgan? Answer me, Mary. Was that Morgan?
Well,
It was, wasn't it? I'd recognize that white horse of his anywhere.
he just stopped by for a drink of water.
What's he doing out of jail? They arrested him today.
I guess they must have let him out.
Let him out. They can't let him out. He's a murderer.
Guess the deputy knows what he's doing, William.
This is probably those Cartwrights doing. They run this whole country just to suit themselves. Letting a disciple of the devil like that run around loose.
William, please.
Don't you realize the danger you were in? He could have done the same thing to you. He done to that poor widow woman last night. Come on inside. We'll go up and give thanks to the Lord for sparing your life. Let us pray. Thank you, O Lord, for protecting my dear wife in her hour of peril. And may it please thy will that soon I may achieve that state of grace that will enable me to devote myself full time in thy behalf without any interference. Amen. Mary?
Amen.
Dearly beloved, for 8 years, this pulpit has been in my keeping. For 8 years, I have treasured it, brought it through adversity and danger, clear across this broad land.
It's not right to keep that pulpit in this place. It's a sacrilege. You ought to give it to a church.
Church, Mary. It will have its own church. My church. A church that I shall build and I shall nourish. Whose sheep only I shall choose. And Mary, only the pure and clean will enter the doors because I will be standing guard and keep the sinners out.
I thought churches were meant for sinners.
You thought. To let a woman like that sinful Widow Baker or that Danny Morgan enter a church, that's sacrilege. Mary, when Morgan hangs, then I think we can begin my ministry. I think we can start building next week.
Next week? Oh, where's the money going to come from?
Mary, you leave all that to me. You just pray that Morgan hangs. I'm going to go to the sheriff first thing in the morning. I'm going to insist they put Morgan back in jail.
But what does Danny Morgan's hanging have to do with building the church?
Sinners must die so the pure might prosper, Mary.
But what if he's not guilty now? I don't think Danny Morgan could kill anybody. He's too kind. He's too gentle.
You do as I say, woman. Pray that Morgan hangs. Lord, suffer no interference in the building of my church. I have waited so long, Lord. I have waited so long. I told you never to come in here without me.
Where did all this money come from?
$10,000.
It's her money, isn't it?
Hers? No, Mary. No, it's mine. Don't you see? I did it for us. To help us build our church.
That poor woman.
She was evil. The world is better off without her.
You killed her.
No, Mary, no. Don't you understand? Bad people need killing. God wants it that way.
You murdered her.
No, Mary. Don't you see? The money helps us to do his will. The more we prosper, the closer we come to him.
You're insane.
Don't say that! Don't ever say that! Mary, I didn't want you to know anything about this. I didn't. But now that you do, you'll have to understand. I'll have to try and make you understand.
I do, William. I do understand.
No, you don't, Mary. No, you don't.
I do, William. Honestly, I do.
No, I can't risk anybody finding out, Mary, not even you, unless I'm sure they understand.
But I do.
But you don't. Nobody does. And it's so simple. Bad people must die.
That's where to look for him.
You killed her! You murdered her! You killed her!
Where you been?
Just riding, Adam.
I told you to wait in the bunkhouse. Why'd you leave?
Well, I couldn't go to the bunkhouse, Adam. Another way they'd look at me. The men think I killed her with a woman.
Don't you have any sense at all? What do you care what they think? What's wrong with your arm?
Nothing.
Boy, you've been shot. Who did it?
what's happened, Adam. What everyone was afraid of.
You killed her. You killed her.
That'll be enough of that. Easy, Adam. His wife's dead.
What?
Her neck's broken. He stopped us as we were on our way out here.
Murder.
No. No, why, yeah, I saw her tonight, but I just stopped to get a drink of water.
I was out in the barn tending a sick calf. When I came back, he was standing over. I shouted, "You killed her, you murderer." When he got on his horse, tried to get away, I shot him. You don't believe me? Look at his arm. You killed my wife.
No, I ain't never killed nobody, honest, Adam.
If he killed her, why did he come back here? Why didn't he light out?
Who can tell what a killer will do?
Come on, you. You better come along with me.
Let me go with him, Danny.
You wouldn't put him back in jail, would you? No, no. You gotta play God.
How's the funeral?
Oh, Mr. Johnson got pretty emotional. Guess you were wise not going.
Whole town was there, including the deputy.
I hear they're trying Denny today.
Sure in a hurry to hang him, aren't they?
Adam, I know you think he's innocent. Thinking isn't enough. There's got to be some tangible evidence.
Well, I think I'm evidence. He could have left me out there to die, and my money was just as good as the widow Baker's. But he didn't kill then, and I don't believe he's killed now.
Well, somebody killed that poor woman. She's dead and buried.
Well, you know, there seems to be just two stories about all this, Danny's and Mr. Johnson's. And everybody assumes that it's Danny who's lying.
You suggesting that Mr. Johnson killed his own wife?
It's possible. It could just be that the upright Bible-spouting Mr. Johnson hasn't told us everything he knows.
Like you say, it could be, but it still has to be proved.
You have to prove it in a hurry, too. Mr. Johnson won't be around much longer. He's got his ranch up for sale.
He's kind of in a hurry, isn't he? I wonder why.
But they'll pay, Mary. I promise you they'll pay. That money was for us. But now I must go on alone. Rooting out corruption wherever I find it. The money will help me in that fight. The evil in the human soul must be destroyed. And I will be the instrument that destroys it. Where are you, Morgan?
Rim, rim, under the red rock rim, under the red rock rim. Lonely as he can be.
I saw him. Sheriff, when did you let him out?
Now, hold on, Johnson. What are you talking about?
But you did. You let him go, didn't you? That sinner, that murderer. Why?
Let who go?
Morgan. That's who. Danny Morgan.
Rim, rim, under the red rock rim. Under the red rock rim.
You can hear for yourself. He's been here right along. Go on, take a look if you want to.
Down in the ground she lies, under an earthly mound, that's where her spirit lies. Rim, rim, under the red rock rim, under the red rock rim.
I saw him outside my house not a half an hour ago. He couldn't get back here before me without his horse.
Now, Johnson, why don't you just simmer down?
You don't believe me? Well, I brought his horse back with me. Come on. I'll show you. Come on. You can see for yourself.
That's your horse, ain't it, Johnson?
But his horse was there. That big white horse he always rides. I know. I brought him here myself. I tied him right up to that rail.
Look, Mr. Johnson, I know you've been under a terrible strain with that awful thing that happened to your poor wife and all. It can start a man to imagining things. It can happen to anybody.
I saw him, and I heard him.
Morgan's horse is in my stable where he's been all night. I put him there myself. Trial starts tomorrow. Morgan will hang, there's no doubt. And that'll be the end of it.
I saw him. I know I did. I shot him right off of that horse. I've got to get away. I've got to get away. He's a devil. I've got to take it to a safe place. Help me. Help me. Build my church in a safe place. What do you want? What are you doing here?
I need your help.
Help?
I have doubts
need your help.
Doubts? What kind of doubts?
About all that's happened. It's as though the devil himself were around tonight.
Are you against the devil?
Yes, I am. I'm afraid of him. I need help to fight him. I need your help.
Yes. Then you too sense the forces of evil that are loose tonight?
Yes, there are forces of evil loose here.
Yes. On this night of evil, you come to me seeking help. Adam, you shall be my first convert.
I shall be your convert.
Adam, do you see this pulpit?
Yes.
It's a miracle pulpit, Adam. Saved alone from a great fire.
Yes.
Around it I shall build my miracle church, free of sinners.
Oh, yes, a miracle church, free from sinners.
A glorious church, Adam, with magnificent windows. And only the pure in heart can enter there.
A glorious church with magnificent windows, and only the pure in heart.
Yes.
But wait.
Huh?
How shall we build this church?
Don't you fear. I can do it. I have the strength. I have the faith.
Yes.
I have the power.
Strength, faith, and power. But we have no money.
Don't worry about that.
No, you can't build a church on words. There'll be no glorious church with magnificent windows.
Yes. I have money.
No miracle church free of sinners because you only have debt.
No, I have money.
No, you don't have money.
Yes, I do. I have $10,000.
The Winnebaker's $10,000.
Yes. No. I mean...
Yes. You killed for it, didn't you?
Yeah. No. It's holy. It's done God's work for 100 years. It can't be broken.
But it is.
Now I can't build my church. It's wrong. It's all wrong. I'm wrong.
Danny, come back, see us.
Thank you, Hoss.
Lots of luck, Danny.
Bye, Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Ben. Well, I gotta be going, Adam.
Sure you won't change your mind? Wait till tomorrow?
No, I like traveling best in the dark.
Well, if you ever need anything, come on back.
If I do, I sure will, Adam.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Rim, under the red rock rim. Nary a star shines down, down on the ground she lies, under an earthly mound, that's where her spirit lies.
Hey, come on, Hobie. I told you one sack at a time. What are you doing? You pulling for foreman or something?
Day's work for a day's pay.
This man looks like he needs a drink.
Yeah.
Hey, Hobie!
Where's he rushing to?
I don't know. I reckon he's sore because we won't let him do his share of the work.
Would you mind moving your horse?
The man driving that rig, did he go into the saloon?
You gonna move your horse?
Adam, that burn Hobie run plumb out on us, right through that store and out the back door.
Hobie? Hobie Clinterman?
Yeah, you know Hobie?
In a way. If you catch up with him, you tell him that it won't do him any good to run. And you tell him that the Ponderosa isn't large enough to hide a murderer.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. Let's go have a talk.
I give you the health of him who sits there in lonely majesty. Glad to see you again, gentlemen. You're just in time to drink a toast. To the Honorable W.H. Whitaker, Magistrate of the Commonweal, sometimes affectionately known as Hanging Harry. Well, the judge is relaxing a bit. Perhaps the judge will honor us with his presence a bit longer. Maybe we can get him to tell us some of his more sprightly stories. About some of the men he's sentenced to dance on air.
Who are you, kid? What do you want?
To track down an elusive quarry. Truth. I'm a newspaper man. Young but very articulate. I work for Horace Greeley's newspaper in New York City. And I've come out here to gather in a little of the local color.
Oh, I see. You ever think about picking on somebody your own age?
Why, now, you wouldn't want to deny me the right of free speech, would you?
No, certainly not.
Not with a judge of the Commonweal listening? You are listening, aren't you, Judge?
Why don't you shut up?
Why should I? Words are my only weapon. Welcome, stranger. Allow me to introduce you to Hanging Harry Whitaker, the most famous judge in the territory.
I happen to know all about the judge and his career.
Why, then you must know that old Harry doesn't count sheep like the rest of us do when we can't sleep. No, sir. Old Harry counts row after row of dangling men, kicking their lives away at the end of a rope.
Well, there's nothing like a whiskey mouth. A little young, Judge. Anything we can do for you?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I'm looking for an old friend. I wonder if you could direct me to his place. His name is Ben Cartwright.
Well, just so happens that we're his sons. I'm Adam. This is my brother Hoss.
Well, Judge Whitaker, I've heard my pa mention you. He would be mighty happy to see you again, Judge, I'm sure.
Well, I don't suppose he'd be expecting me because we haven't met in years, you know. But he has written more than once to invite me to the Ponderosa, and just happening to be in the neighborhood.
He just happened to be in the neighborhood. Why don't you tell him why you're really here? Go on, Your Honor. Tell the good people the real reason.
Hoss, why don't you ride with the judge on back to the ranch? I'll bring the wagon in.
Come on, Your Honor.
Now let's you and me have a little talk.
One of the great and mighty Cartwrights, hmm?
What do you mean about hiding murderers on the Ponderosa?
My name is Jolly, Bob Jolly. It may help if I tell you that my father was Carl Jolly. A little over a year ago, my father was hung by the neck until he was dead. The charge was shooting a territory agent down in cold blood.
Well, now, if my memory serves me correct, he was found guilty. There was evidence and, I believe, some witnesses.
There was hanging Harry Whitaker, you mean? So bloated with power over life and death, he had no time for anything except keeping his reputation. And so, an innocent man paid with his life.
I was in that courtroom in Pipesville. Your father was guilty. And he got a fair trial.
If you were there, then you know he was railroaded.
I was there. I was there, and I'm no liar. You old enough to use that gun?
Well, what could I expect? The great American West. A haven for scum. A paradise for killers and gunslingers. Where bullies become judges. And good men's lives are sold to a screaming crowd for how many pieces of silver?
Why don't you just leave it right there, huh?
You heard what he called me?
Yeah. Well, out here, we don't shoot men in the back for just any reason. About your father. I wasn't at the trial.
Don't apologize. He was only a poor homesteader, not really worth anyone's attention.
Boy, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if you didn't end this day in a pine box.
Why not? I think it goes rather nicely with this law-abiding part of the country.
The remark you made about the Ponderosa, now, what was that supposed to mean?
You know the meaning of it. You hired Hobie Clinderman.
That's right, but what's that got to do with it?
Hobie Clinderman swore my father's life away. Judge Whitaker tied the knot around his throat, and today both men find sanctuary on the Ponderosa. Now, do you know what I meant?
Boy, you know, you don't seem to have anything else on your mind but going around getting people all riled up. I don't know what you're after, but I would suggest that you go about it sensibly. Now, why don't you sit down reasonably, quietly, and speak your mind just once? Maybe then people will know what's bothering you.
Wait. I don't know, maybe you are on the level. Here, this is a story I sent back east to Mr. Greeley. It's about your father's bosom friend, Judge Whitaker. You read that, Cartwright, then you'll know what's bothering me.
there you are, Harry. Good and strong. Just the way you like it.
Well, thank you, Ben. I think I still prefer it that way.
Harry, it's really good to see you.
Well, I can say the same thing, Ben. Old friends. I mean, sometimes you need them. You need them.
Yes, indeed you do. Indeed you do. Oh, come on in, Adam. You boys did yourself a proud bit of work this morning, finding my old friend the judge and bringing him out here. How'd you meet up?
Oh, we met in the saloon. The young fellow that was there was insulting the judge.
What do you mean, insulting the judge?
Oh, no, don't let it upset you, Ben. The young fellow's name was Robert Jolly. And I had the unhappy task of sentencing his father to death about a year ago.
Jolly. Oh, yeah. That's a man down in Pipesville, wasn't it?
That's the one. Carl Jolly. He murdered a man because he came onto his property and wanted to talk about buying a strip of land for the railroad. Well, Ben, you know how this territory's been hurting for a railroad.
Of course.
And, of course, there isn't an inch of progress to be made without it, and the people knew that. So they were going to do something. So the legislature provided the money for the land, and they deeded it over to the railroad. Oh, everybody was happy and cooperated for the territory, and all except Carl Jolly. Well, he elected to be stubborn. So even when Senator Prince sent a man down there to plead with him, he just shot him down.
Well, Bob Jolly wrote this article. He contends that his father got anything but a fair trial.
Now that is a devilish lie. Ben, my conscience is clear. There were witnesses and facts. Carl Jolly took a life, and I took his. That was my duty. That was my duty. I think, Ben, I'd better rest a little bit.
Of course.
You already get that feed unloaded? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, Hobie gave me a hand with it.
Hobie's back?
How could he give me a hand with it if he wasn't back?
Well, did you know that Hobie was the chief witness in Carl Jolly's trial?
No, I did not.
Yeah, young Jolly thinks it's kind of strange that the man that swore his father's life away and the man that put the noose around his neck are both here at the same time at the Ponderosa. I'll tell you something else about your friend the judge. Must be something that drives a man to the bottle before the sun is barely up in the morning. According to young Jolly, he hasn't sat in a courtroom for 6 months now. He just travels around from town to town, bar to bar.
Joe, call in Hobie.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Hobie! Hobie!
Adam, you do have a way of sticking your neck out for the underdog.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Put your hands up, young man. Put them way up. You been fired?
Yeah.
I
shot at a rattler about a mile back.
Good. Maybe you can show us that rattler.
I'm afraid I can't. I missed. Judge! Sure seems like you're always around anytime one of us jollies is accused of shooting someone.
Howdy, Ben.
Roy? Just here?
No, I got him room up the hotel to use as an office. He's going to hold a preliminary hearing.
Oh, where?
Right here in my office.
I won't hold very many.
Well, I guess maybe he prefers it that way.
What about Ben?
Ben, I'm a lost. I just hate a noisy crowd, but I'm scared to death of a quiet one.
Who riled him up?
Who knows? All that takes is one voice and a good argument. Now, inside, I've got the son of a man who was hanged for murder. And only yesterday, he shot an innocent man.
Has anybody proved that?
No, but they all believe that he did it.
We go inside?
Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Jolly.
Well. Look who's come to visit the poor dollar-a-column newspaper fellow.
Well, we thought we'd see if you want us to hire a lawyer for you.
A lawyer? Well, I'm touched. Really touched. No, thank you, gentlemen. They hired a lawyer for my father. A young man who had just finished his reading in a lawyer's office. A young fellow who hadn't even seen the outside of a law school. My father was arrested, tried, and hanged in 3 days.
Nevertheless, we thought we might be of some help.
Gentlemen, let's not be inconsistent. You Cartwrights have the chief witness for the prosecution on your payroll, and you have the hanging judge in your house as a house guest.
Come on, Adam. We'll see you at the preliminary hearing.
Preliminary to what? The hanging?
Am I telling me something, Jolly? What's really eating you?
What's eating me? Injustice, Cartwright. Like an acid. Eating my insides out.
You sure it isn't something else?
Get out.
Okay. Looks kind of pale.
Well, Dan, you know what a 45 slug can do. However, I hope he's a tough nut. He'll be all right.
Say a 45 slug?
Yes.
Jolly was at 38, didn't he? Maybe that hearing shouldn't be held. Well, I'd better tell Judge Whitaker.
No, wait, hold on. Why don't we, hold off telling the judge about this for a little while, huh?
What's on your mind?
Well, maybe this will give us a chance to find out if he's willing to dig out these new facts for himself.
This is a preliminary hearing to determine whether the accused shall be remanded for trial on the charge of attempted murder. If the accused is so remanded, I will disqualify myself and refer the case to another judge. All right, let's get on with it. Sheriff, were there any witnesses to the shooting?
Well, now, you know that there wasn't, Your Honor. But Bob Jolly showed up right after the shooting, and, well, his gun had been fired not too long before that. Now, he said that he shot a snake, but there wasn't any proof of that.
Was the bullet recovered?
I think so. You got it, ain't you, Doc?
Yes, I have it.
Describe the bullet.
It's base metal, predominantly lead, 45 caliber.
What caliber was the accused's gun?
It's a 38, Your Honor.
Is there any proof that the accused owned or had access to a 45 caliber gun?
Well, no, I just suppose that...
In the law, we don't suppose. Until you get proof. Case dismissed. Release the prisoner.
Harry, get back to the Ponderosa.
Well staged, Your Honor. Very well staged.
Jolly, I thought you'd be satisfied.
I'll be satisfied when I get your friend, the judge, and Hobie Clinderman together.
Your father was guilty. I did the right thing. I did the right thing.
Ben, I think I better get a drink.
Well, there's one thing for sure. Boy in there's got a lot of courage.
Either that or a lot of gall.
Gall and courage. We better keep an eye on him while he's in town. He's not making any friends.
That's for sure.
Well, look who's in town.
I wonder what he's doing here.
Keeps interesting company.
Harry, how are you?
Well, what brings you here?
Well, Senator Prince, how are you, sir?
Tolerable, Mr. Cartwright, tolerable.
Well, Virginia City's honored.
Thank you very much, sir. I am not here on official business. I just happen to be passing through. And, Harry, I was wondering, is there somewhere we could have a drink? Alone, I mean.
Well, I'm with Ben Cartwright here.
Oh,
excuse me, Mr. Cartwright.
Adam? Oh, Senator Prince, I believe they have some rooms back here, but I want you to meet my eldest son, Adam, Senator Prince. How do you do, sir?
How do you do? Now, would you mind, Harry? You will excuse us,
Certainly.
Harry, I have many things to discuss with you.
Senator Prince. Wasn't he the chairman on that legislative committee, the one that set up that railroad deal?
I believe he was, yes. Yes, why?
Funny. Seems that everybody who had anything to do with Carl Jolly's all of a sudden showing up in Virginia City.
I say a trial was too good for your father. I say they shouldn't even have wasted the time. Just stretched his neck right there on the spot. What is it they sing? He shot a man who came to help. He shot him cold without a chance. But Hanging Harry made him dance. Carl Jolly. Go on. Pull it. Everyone's watching. The world ain't gonna miss this Jolly any more than the last one.
Cartwright! This is my affair!
Don't do it.
You taking this up?
No. There's nothing to take up.
Hold it!
See, this is my business.
You ain't gonna be using that hand. You use your feet. Clear on out of town. You're out of business.
Well, who's guilty in this case, Judge?
I don't know what you mean, and I will not be talked to in that manner.
I mean no disrespect, sir. The man out there was a hired gunman, a professional killer. He was hired to pick a fight with Bob Jolly. Now, it seems that someone is very interested in hushing up the Jolly case. Now, do you know what I mean, sir?
This is ridiculous. From riffraff, I could understand. But from a Cartwright.
All that boy asked is the right to question the judge and the chief witness for the prosecution about his father's trial.
If you knew anything about the law, young man, you'd know that Robert Jolly has no such right. His father was tried. The law has spoken, and that is it.
Questions, Senator, just reasonable questions.
And how, I ask, can we expect reason from the son of a convicted murderer? And to ask Harry Whitaker, our great judge, a man who may one day sit on the supreme bench of the United States, to ask this man to subject himself to the so-called reasonable questions of a boy weighted down with the knowledge that he is a cold-blooded murderer's son? No. Gentlemen, no. As long as I have anything to say in this territory, our courts, our judges, will not be subjected to such indignity.
Thank you, Senator Prince. A sensitive judge can, I have learned, be driven to distraction, flooded with confusion as to the validity of his most honest decisions. So, here and now, I declare that henceforth I will be responsible only to the law and to the people of this territory. And I will not subject myself to the bias, vindictive, unreasonable inquisition of a Robert Jolly or any man like him.
Very good.
Judge Whitaker! Just one more question, sir. I am not biased. I am not vindictive, nor unreasonable. And my name is not Robert Jolly. And my father has not been accused, arrested, tried, convicted, and hanged in 3 days for murder. Though maybe that's just through the grace of God. And I haven't been forced to chase a judge all over the territory to ask him questions, which I had a right to ask.
How dare you?
I dare, sir, because I've lived in this territory most of my life. I have part of its future, and I want to be proud of it. So don't deny me that. Now, Hobie Clindeman is going to be up and around in a couple of days. I am willing to meet the both of you here in this saloon Friday morning. But I leave that decision up to you, Judge. Are they in there?
Yeah, they're waiting.
It's a long trip. And a ride all night.
Adam. Did you get what you went looking for in Pipesville?
I think so.
I've spent 3 days gathering material about something I wish I'd never gotten mixed up in.
Go on.
Well, Judge Whitaker is your friend. But I don't believe he's the man you think he is. So I'm going to leave it up to you. You want me to go on with it?
You've got to live with yourself. You've got to do what your conscience thinks is right.
All right.
About a year ago, Carl Jolly, a farmer down near Pikesville, was tried in my court. He was convicted. I had to sentence him to death by hanging. Well, a few days ago, a young citizen of this territory by the name of Adam Cartwright demanded that he have the right to question me and Hobie Clinderman, who, by the way, was the chief witness for the people in the trial against Carl Jolly. Neither Adam Cartwright nor any other private citizen has that right. But for the sake of community harmony and for the fear that to do otherwise might be a disservice to the law, I extend to Adam Cartwright the privilege to ask me any question that he chooses.
Thank you, sir. Bob, you told me that your father was a poor, uneducated, warm-hearted man who...
What's wrong with that? He was.
Well, I've just come from Pipesville. And Carl Jolly's former neighbors told me that he was the most stubborn, cantankerous, and argumentative man that ever drew a breath.
Well, there are a lot of liars.
Isn't it true that he argued with you constantly? That he even picked a fight with you one Sunday morning in church? Well, isn't it true that you hated the farm and that you wanted to run away to New York, get away? And that your father took a gun and he aimed it at your head and he said that he'd kill you if you dared leave the farm? Now, isn't that true, Bob?
All right. But my father didn't really mean any harm by it. He only pointed a gun at me and told me I couldn't go. And I said to him, if you want me to stay on this farm, you'll have to kill me and bury me here. And I turned and walked away. I never looked back. Never. Until it was too late.
Didn't you ever write him?
Often, at first. But he never answered, so I stopped. I remember the first letter, the only letter I ever got. I had moved away from the address he had, so I got it 4 months late. I shall never forget that letter. My dear son, I'm in jail. They say I killed a railroad feller. I didn't. But they're going to hang me. I wish I could kiss you goodbye. Respectfully, your father.
This is unfair. Grossly unfair. Let's not forget that Bill Hauser died, too. Yes, and he died with Carl Jolly's bullet in his heart. That's been proved.
Senator, I think if you'll just be patient, sir, you'll get your turn.
I don't want my turn, Cartwright. I want this whole farce of a trial stopped right now. These proceedings are ridiculous.
Your Honor?
Proceed.
Hobie, you and the man was killed. What's his name again?
Hauser. Billy Hauser.
Yes, Bill Hauser. The two of you worked for Senator Prince and his legislative committee, didn't you?
That's right.
And it was your job to travel across the country from farm to farm and buy a strip of land to be used for the right-of-way of the railroad, right?
Yes.
Would you mind reading that? That's part of your testimony from the trial.
Me and Hauser tried to explain to Jolly about the good the railroad would do. But before we could get more than a few words out, Jolly pulled out his gun and shouted for us to get the heck off on his land and never to cross it again. I always knew he was dangerous, and I was afraid. Me and Hauser wasn't carrying any guns, and this guy, Jolly, had murder in his eye. So I took off and started to run, and then suddenly I heard a shot. I turned back, and there was Billy Hauser lying there dead. I managed to get out of there fast.
Now, that is your testimony, huh?
Yeah, that's my testimony.
All right, thanks, Hubby. Oh, and you and Bill Hauser out there riding around through the open country. What'd you eat?
Mostly things along the way. Sometimes a farmer'd feed us. Sometimes we'd build a fire, cook a rabbit, squirrel, something like that.
Rabbits and squirrels. How'd you catch them?
Oh, we didn't catch them. We get close enough most times for a good shot at them.
I don't understand. Me and Hauser wasn't carrying any guns. What'd you shoot them with?
Sometimes we carried guns.
Oh, sometimes.
Well, usually.
Usually. But not when you were going to see a man that you knew that was dangerous? At least that's what you said he was here, dangerous.
I don't know. All I know is on that particular day, we wasn't carrying any guns.
Well, why not? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Oh, this is outrageous. This would never be permitted in a court of law. Why, this man Cartwright won't accept the witness' answers.
Well, at least he gave you an answer.
Judge, would you accept that answer? Yes, of course you would. You already have accepted it, haven't you? Now, why did you?
Because in a court of law, a witness has the right to give any reasonable answer to a question.
Judge, you're familiar with this country, its ways. Do you really believe that Hobie and his partner traveled around the country unarmed?
Could be true.
Could have been. Well, didn't you question it even once?
I did the best I could.
Judge, Carl Jolly's only hope in that courtroom was you. The record clearly states that he told you time and time again that Hauser was armed, that it was Hauser who drew on him first, and that he had to kill him in self-defense. But you wouldn't listen. You didn't even ask Hobie the simplest of questions to get at the real truth. But why not, Judge? Because you wanted Carl Jolly to hang? Because, like the rest of the town, you hated him?
No. I despise people who descend to hatred.
Then maybe that's why you've been running away these past few months. Because you're afraid of examining your conscience. Because you were afraid you'd end up despising yourself. But you're going to have to face up to it sooner or later, Judge. Because that's the kind of a man you are. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here today. Why, you'd have laughed at Bob Jolly the first time he accused you, or you'd have had him arrested for disturbing the peace. But you couldn't do it. Because basically, you're what my father says you are. An honest, honorable man.
I would say this has gone just about far enough. Gentlemen, how can we sit here and watch a great public servant hounded and degraded?
No.
I suppose I knew it all along, but I just couldn't face it. There were errors in the trial, but I did not know that they were deliberate. Hatred, no. I told myself it was love. Love of the territory, love of the people. I mean, they honored me, they respected me, and they looked up to me, and I dedicated my life to them and their welfare. But why couldn't this man see what a railroad would mean? How couldn't he see, standing on that vital piece of land, heedless of his neighbors, and stopping every bit of progress in the territory just because he didn't care to change? But he was a human being, and he had a right to live. Perhaps if I'd known more truth about Carl Jolly, he would have deserved to die anyway. But my crime was that I didn't reach beyond enough to find the truth. The people made me their judge. I tried one of my fellow men, and I failed to give him the full protection of the law. No judge can do a greater wrong.
No, Judge, it wasn't you. It wasn't you who did wrong. Keep your mouth shut, Clinderman. No, I won't. Not any longer. I'm going to tell the truth. I lied in your court. Hauser and me, we was both carrying guns that day. Hauser drew first on Jolly. Jolly had to kill him in self-defense. Senator Prince told us that if we didn't get rid of Carl Jolly, Jolly would block the railroad. This is an outrageous lie. This man is making the whole thing up. Surely you don't take his word over mine.
There will be an investigation, Senator. Not only of my judicial conduct, but of the perjury committed in my court and the procurement of that perjury, which is now charged to you. Sheriff?
You'll never prove anything against me, you doddering old fool. My hands are clean.
Oh, is that why you had Morton, a professional gunman, on your payroll? Maybe now we'll find out who tried to kill Hobie and who paid to have it done.
You'll never prove anything.
Well, we'll certainly try, Senator.
Senator? Come on, Hobie.
I'm sorry, Judge. You will never get away with this. Never.
Come on, Hobie.
Thank you, Ben. Will you do something for me? Will you walk out of here with me to show these people that at least in your eyes I'm not a totally evil man?
I'd be proud to.
Judge.
I guess there isn't much to say, is there?
I guess not. I'm going to give that line to the railroad, Adam. I think my father would want me to now. It's his way and mine of saying thanks. I won't forget you.
Yeah, and I won't forget you either. A little local color.
Bars open, gentlemen.
Mister, you just scared a year's growth out of me.
Shut up and get off of that horse.
Just what do you got in mind?
I want your horse.
Well, now, you ain't got the politest way in the world of asking for it.
Quit jawing and get off of that horse.
No, I don't believe I will, unless you think you're man enough to come down here and pull me off.
I don't have to come down there. I can shoot you out of that saddle from right here a dang sight easier.
You mean you'd actually shoot a man just for a horse?
I declare. Outside of me, you're about the talkingest person I ever seen. Now, I'm just going to give you a count of 3 to get off of that horse. 1, 2...
All right, old man. Here we go.
Back me down or I'll slit your throat.
Later, maybe. Right now, back into bed.
I'll tear you apart with my bare hands.
Look, you may be a wildcat when you're well, but right now you ain't got enough strength to fight a sick rabbit. Maybe some of Hop Sing's stew will fix that up.
What's all these fancy diggings?
This is a Ponderosa ranch. It's where I live with my pa and 2 brothers.
How'd I get here?
Well, after you tried to shoot me off of my horse and steal him, you passed out from that leg wound. I brought you here. The doctor in Virginia City dug that out of your leg.
Gotta give me my clothes and get me on my horse. I gotta get out of here.
If you ain't the honoriest creature I ever run into, would you liked it better if I'd have left you out there on the trail to have died?
I'd have left you.
You're a liar.
Nobody calls me that. If I was able to walk around, why, I'd...
But you can't walk, and you ain't gonna be able to for a couple of weeks. The doctor said very few men could have lived through what you went through. You're a tough one, all right.
I am, so don't you go calling me no liar.
I'll go get that stew. Maybe it'll help your disposition. By the way, what's your name?
Jim Smith.
All right. Jim, stew coming up.
patient?
Oh, he's just as cantankerous as he was out on the trail. Hop Sing!
Yes, Mr. Hart?
Hop Sing, do me a favor, will you? Take a bowl of that good stew of yours up there to the sick man. He's powerful hungry.
All right, Mr. Hoss.
Yeah, Hop Sing. You might better make it a double portion.
Yes, sir. Just like you, Mr. Hoss.
All right.
What are you gonna do with that big moose, Hoss?
Yeah, we kind of missed you today. Lifting all them fence rails sort of tired me out.
Well, he ain't gonna be here long, and that's for sure. He tried to talk me into tying him onto a horse so he could ride out of here.
Sure seems to be in a hurry to get away, doesn't he? First he tries to steal your horse, and I'd be careful of him if I were you.
I can handle him, Paul.
What happened to him? Who is he, anyway?
Well, all he told me was that his name was Jim Smith.
Smith? That's an unusual name.
Well, I would suggest you go around calling him a liar, little brother.
If I do, I'll stand behind you.
Big, cantankerous, hard-headed bull. That blame tired of packing you around.
Howdy, Cal.
Van. My lawyer, Jed Nelson.
Certainly.
Howdy. My son, Hoss.
How do you do, Mr. Cartwright?
Well, why don't we go in the house and have some coffee?
No, no thanks, Ben. We're out here on urgent business.
Oh, well, what can I do for you?
We understand you've got a wounded man in there. The doc told us.
Oh, yeah, he sure is wounded. Jim Smith.
Jim Smith? It's Jim Layton.
Well, he says his name is Jim Smith.
Well, I don't care what he says. It's Jim Layton.
Name's got quite a reputation behind it.
Well, you can add two more words to it. Thief and a murderer.
How do you figure that?
Because he stole $10,000 worth of my pelts and killed my partner to cover up for it.
They're pretty strong accusations, Mr. Stacy. Can you prove them?
As Mr. Stacy's lawyer, perhaps I can explain. Mr. Stacy's in a partnership with a fur trader out of St. Louis by the name of Amos Carter. He invested rather heavily with him in an expedition to gather beaver pelts from up north. And they hired this Jim Layton as a hunter and a scout.
So yesterday he dragged himself into Virginia City claiming that they were attacked by Paiutes, that Carter had been killed.
When I found Jim yesterday, he had a bullet in his own leg.
I know. I helped the deputy put it there when he broke jail.
So if you'll just turn him over to us, we'll take him back to Virginia City and see if we can get to the bottom of what happened to Amos Carter.
No. First place, he's too badly wounded to move.
All right, we'll get the sheriff and make it official.
I don't see why you want to protect a thief and murdering half-breed.
That's enough, Mr. Stacy. We'll do this through legal channels. Good day.
Paul, do you think I did the right thing?
Yeah, you did the right thing. Man is too badly wounded to be moved.
Yeah, old Jim's a legend in his own time, ain't he?
Yeah, well, the trouble with being a legend is that a man is liable to outdo himself trying to live up to it. Let's get to work.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna go up and talk to Jim. I'll be back in a minute. I want to ask you something. Did you break out of jail in Virginia City?
There ain't a jail in the world can hold Jim Layton when he sets his mind to get out of it.
Last night, you told me your name was Jim Smith.
Last night I wanted to get out of here and you wouldn't let me.
If you ever lie to me again, I'll beat you to a pulp the first time you're able to stand up.
Why don't you just go stick your head in a rain barrel if you can find one small enough to fit it? Anyhow, what do you care what happens to a half-breed?
Jim, when that doctor and I took the slug out of your leg, your blood looked the same as everybody else's to me.
Howdy, Hoss. Glad to see you. Want some coffee?
No, thanks.
I was just getting ready to come out to your ranch.
Yeah, I know. That's why I came in here.
About Jim Layton, huh?
Yeah. Clem, how come you threw Jim in jail? Just because Cal Stacy asked you to?
Hoss, if I hadn't known you for so long, I might take offense to that remark.
Sorry.
I put him in jail for his own protection. Stacy was kind of riled up. I don't trust any man, especially when there's 10,000 at stake.
Clem, let me ask you something. Do you think that Jim Layton stole those pelts?
Well, I don't know, Hoss. I got my men scouting the country looking for Amos Carter. And I'm reserving judgment until we find him or not, or find some evidence of what happened to him. But until then, I want Jim Layton to stick around, even if I have to put double bars on his cell door this time.
Sheriff, Cal here said he saw Mr. Cartwright coming into town, so we thought we'd drop over. Have you decided to give him up, Mr. Cartwright?
Nope. I just came in to tell Clem that I thought Jim was too sick to move. Besides, Jim Layton tells me he didn't kill Amos Carter.
Just his saying so doesn't make it absolutely true, Mr. Cartwright.
Nope. And just because you say he did doesn't make that absolutely true either, Mr. Nelson.
Everybody knows what he's like. His mother's a Crow Indian. Well, he even brags about spilling some white men's blood. He's got jail records all over the country.
Still doesn't mean that he killed Amos Carter.
Well, I think he did. And I think he's got $10,000 worth of pelts cached away somewhere.
He denied that, Cal.
Sure he did. Jim Layton would deny 100 things for $1, let alone $10,000 worth of pelts.
But until I get some evidence either on Carter or the furs, it's your word against his. Huh?
You mean you're going to let him stay out there at the Ponderosa?
Haas says he's too sick to be moved.
I do think he'd be safer in jail, Sheriff.
Well, I think he'd be safer on the ranch.
saddling men all my life just 'cause they wanted to knock me down a little bit.
You sure picked a rough life for yourself. Jim, what made you decide to become a mountain man?
Well, it wasn't exactly my own choosing. After they tarred and feathered me and run me out of town, why, I figured that, well, maybe living in town wasn't for people like me.
It tarred and feathered you?
Yeah, you know how it is when you're a kid. They teach you that you do good while you get your just reward. Well, I did good. I did real good. I went and crippled a feller for beating a horse, and, well, they tarred and feathered me and run me out of town. Guess that's when I learned that rewards for white people and half-breeds was two different things.
Civilized white man.
You know, the red man can be just as bad. I learned that when I went to live with my mother's folks, the Crows. After the Paiutes killed her in a raid, why, I found out that, well, I'd run out of places to go, so I just pulled up stakes and went to the mountains. You know, living alone in the mountains ain't a bad life.
Well, no man can live alone, Jim. Standing up against the world.
Well, I can.
Well, you don't have to. Because we ain't the world, Jim. We're your friends.
Now, don't you speak too fast, big feller. That cow says that I kill white men. Well, I have. When I lived with the Crows, I killed more than my share of them fighting their battles. I come close to being lynched more than once. I've been in jail in 3 different states and 2 territories. As near as I can remember, I've killed at least 3 men in showdown fights. You know, being friends to a man like me ain't no easy proposition. I don't need your help. Like I told you, I can take care of myself.
That'll hold us till about noon anyway, Adam. Better start riding that fence. We see you, Pa.
How about you? You riding with us?
I got that wagon wheel to fix over there on that freighter, Adam.
Well, I have a lot of paperwork to do. Jim, you got something to keep you busy?
Oh, I'll stick around with old Hoss here. Give him a little advice if he needs it.
Well, you can sure use it. Change of scenery do you good, too.
I'll tell you what, little fella. Let's check out these crutches I made for you.
Sure hope you built them strong enough to hold me up.
Well, they was before you had breakfast.
How much would a rig like this cost a man?
Oh, about $200 in Virginia City.
With or without horses?
Well, a strong team of horses would cost a man another $400, imagine.
You mean tell me that it'd cost me, $700 to drive out of Virginia City in an outfit like this?
Yeah, maybe even more. The way prices are going up.
Whew. You know, if you'd told me that you could shrink iron, I'd have had to call you a liar.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't, little man, because if you had, you know what I'd have had to done? I'd have had to stuck your tongue right down on that hot iron.
Just as soon as I get off these sticks, I reckon I'm going to have to show you who's the king of the mountain around here.
Well, I'm going to be waiting, little fella. Don't you worry about that.
$700. Man, it's an awful lot of money for a feller to lay his hands on, especially if he has to do it honest.
Yep, but it could cost you a whole lot more if you try to do it otherwise. Hey, that's a mighty close friend.
What did I tell you about being friends with me?
You stuck that thing in there 1.5 inches.
Yep, I'm a little rusty.
Well, I think I'd rather take my chances at 6-shooter. After that puny breakfast we had this morning, I gathered some walnuts, you old son. Oops. Hey. See you hit that. Hey. Wow. Wouldn't be much good for skinning, would it?
I don't use it for skinning. Got another knife for that. You know, prime beaver takes special handling. Kind of like you and this here wagon wheel.
You figuring on going after more beaver when your leg gets well, Jim?
Yep, if I can find me a big enough wagon and a stout enough team to pull it.
You gotta have a wagon and a team to trap beaver?
No, but I'm sure gonna need a rig if I catch up with them Injuns that went and stole that load from me and Mr. Carter.
Yeah. You just remember one thing. I promised that sheriff that you'd stay here till he let you go.
That's what you told me, little man.
What do you want, Cal?
Just came out to make sure he's still around.
Easy, Jim. Easy. Easy.
I'll carve a smile across his throat from ear to ear. He's the one who went and shot me in the leg.
You're lucky it was only your leg. Because that way, you'll be able to still tell us where you hid them pelts.
Why don't you ask him Paiutes?
Look, Cal, now you've seen what you came to see. Why don't you just clear out?
What are you so touchy about, Cartwright? You make a deal with him to split those pelts when he goes after them?
You're asking to get hurt, Cal.
If I wasn't hobbling around on these, why, I'd paint your head off.
If I had it to do over again, I'd shoot both your legs.
Jim! Jim! No, Jim! Stop it, Jim! Tell you, he should have stayed in jail.
Okay, yeah.
It's an animal.
Get out of here.
Why'd you do that, you big ox?
Because you'd have killed him, that's why.
Sure I'd have killed him. I'm a finisher. Any man that fights Jim Layton knows that.
Well, you better be glad you didn't finish off Cal Stacy.
I told you once before that I can fight my own battles. Now help me up here.
Well, I can see right now, Jim, that one of these days I'm just going to have to plain beat that honors out of you.
Yeah, and when you try it, remember what I said about being a finisher.
I get it, Mr. Cartwright. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Clem. Good to see you. I was thinking of just getting me some coffee. Join me?
Yes, guess I will.
I get it.
Come on, sit down.
Thanks.
To what do we owe the pleasure of this visit?
You still got that Jim Layton here?
Oh, yeah, just like Hoss promised. He's here. Hobbling around with those crutches, he couldn't get very far anyway. What's on your mind?
I got bad news for him. We found Amos Carter in the middle of nowhere and shot in the back.
Well, you figure Jim shot him?
I don't know, Ben. But it gives Cal Stacy just what he needs to get a warrant out for Layton's arrest. Matter of fact, both of them over at Judge Flanagan's office right now.
Clem? How come you didn't wait for that warrant before he came out here?
Well, I thought maybe if he came in voluntarily, it might go better for him.
It's real thoughtful of you. Boys went out working the range this morning. Jim went out in the wagon with him. Guess he got tired of looking at these four walls all the time. I'll ride out and tell him you want to see him.
All right. I hope you can get him to come in.
Yeah. So do I.
strange man. Ben, if he doesn't come in, you know I'll have to come out after him. Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Say, me and old Hoss forgot our noonday meal. I come back after.
Mr. Cartwright looking for you and Mr. Hoss. He goes south for range. You see him?
No, that's where Adam and little Joe's working. What do you want?
Sheriff, he come. He say if they find Mr. Carter's body, want you go to town.
Mr. Carter's dead, huh? You sure?
Very sure. Shot him back.
Is that right? When you fix that grub, maybe you better make enough for 5. We run into some other fellas out there this morning.
All right, fix 5 more.
Good. Don't take too long, huh?
You told Jim the sheriff was looking for him, didn't you?
Yes, sir. And that you go look for him in South Pasture. Hobson do right?
Yeah, you did right.
Thank you, Mr. Ben.
Thank you, Hobson. Thank you.
Well, looks like he's skedaddled on it.
Yep, sure does. Maybe he had reason to.
Paul, do you think he really killed Amos Carter?
I don't know, Hoss. Killed a couple of other fellas by his own admission.
Oh, but Paul, in a fair fight.
Yeah, in a fair fight. Now, he knew that you'd given your word to keep him here. And still he skedaddled.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go after him, too.
If he went up to those mountains of his, you're not gonna find him.
He didn't go up the mountain.
Now, how can you be so sure of that?
Because he told me if he could ever lay hands on a wagon and team, he's going after those Indians and those pelts, and that's where he is.
Hoss, how can you be so sure that he didn't kill Carter?
Well, first of all, Paul, he couldn't kill a man to steal. And secondly, Jim would never shoot a man in the back.
Hoss, I know how you feel about him. But he's a dangerous man.
Yep. But I gave my word, Paul, that he wouldn't get away. And I'm gonna go get him. He ain't big enough to stop me. You get Hobson to get me some grub together. I'm gonna go out and get a fresh pony. Howdy, Jim.
Howdy, big feller.
You got enough grub there for an extra?
Yeah, you never can tell when friends is gonna drop in. Pull up a chair. Y'all had got here a couple hours earlier, and you could have helped me load my pelts.
Well, sir, if you'd have invited me back at the Ponderosa, I'd have been happy to.
Help yourself.
Looks like good stew.
Want some coffee?
No, thank you.
All right, out with it. What are you doing out here?
Jim, how many times have you told me that the Indians stole these pelts?
Well, they'd have done it, too, if I hadn't hit them first.
What are you figuring on doing with them?
I'm going to take them to Kansas City and sell them.
Jim, I got no mind to use this, but I will if I have to. I had to get the drop on you because you're so blame fast with that frog sticker.
I told you once before, Hoss, don't you never start nothing with me unless you're a finisher.
Well, why don't you try me out and find out whether or not I am?
My bare hands against that gun?
Against my bare hands.
Now I know why you come up here all alone. You want to find out who's the king of the mountain.
It's these pelts, Jim. They come first.
You mean you want them for yourself?
If I can whoop you, we'll take them back to the ranch and let my paw judge what to do with them.
There ain't no way you can whoop me.
All right. If you whip me, then you get on this wagon and you head east. And I'll claim I never caught up with you. Bargain?
There ain't nothing that'll stop me short of murder. Now, hold on. Don't get in no rush. I don't hold with fighting on a full stomach.
All right. First thing in the morning? Be a little dandy.
Yeah.
No hard feelings, Jim.
No hard feelings.
You look like you've been in a fight anyhow.
You ought to see yourself, big feller.
When you gonna head east, Jim?
I ain't a-heading east.
You ain't? You earned the right.
I wish I could, but I finally found a man that I couldn't whoop.
You couldn't whoop?
I just happened to come to before you did. Hoss, I ain't never gonna lie to you again.
Jim, did you kill Amos Carter?
No, I never. But Cal Stacy and that lawyer of his is sure gonna try to make it stick that I did.
Don't you worry. You'll get a fair trial, and you taking those pelts back in on your own, that's gonna help.
I don't believe that, Hoss, but you're the king of the mountain.
Let's go.
Well, that does it. Let's go.
Jim, I've been doing a little thinking.
You sure do things the hard way.
Yeah. Now, Amos Carter was killed. Shot in the back, mind you. Now, you didn't kill him. And you say you chased the Indians off an hour or so after he left.
What are you driving at, anyhow?
Just this. If you didn't kill him, and the Indians didn't kill him, then who did kill him?
Well, maybe somebody that stood to make some money out of him being dead.
That's exactly right. Like Cal Stacy.
Hey, you've got muscles in your head.
Don't take muscles to figure that Cal Stacy would be the only man to benefit from his death and yours, and that's how come he's been accusing you so.
Hey, maybe we better have a little talk with that gentleman, huh? Look, Charlie.
Gave you a census card right. Brought him back. Must have been quite a battle, didn't it?
No battle. Matter of fact, when we learned who killed Amos Carter, why, old Jim came in as peaceful as a dove.
Well, we know who killed Carter. Get over to the sheriff and tell him that Leighton is here.
Why, Cal, now, you know dadgum good and well the sheriff's out there scouring the whole countryside for us now. But he's looking the wrong place, ain't he? I'll tell you what, Mr. Nelson, you go on over there and you wait for the sheriff. And when you see him, you tell him that me and Jim's got Mr. Carter's killer all plucked, dressed, and cleaned.
You heard him. Get.
Oh, no, you won't. Matter of fact, that's why Jim and me came into town. We want to talk to you, Cal. Kind of private like. Why don't we move over here to this other table?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Just what do you think you're doing?
Sit down. I'll tell you, Cal. Me and old Jim ain't much on talking. Especially when there's something we want to hear, right, Jim? Now, why don't you just tell us how you killed Amos Carter?
You two must have beat each other senseless. I don't know what you're talking about. Just let me
Sit down.
Look, I'm a free citizen. I can do as I please.
You're a murderer.
You know, Jim, I saw a funny thing one time. I saw a couple of cowboys get into a scrape. And you know what they done? One of them took his boot heel just like this, and he came down just like this on that feller's instep. Boom! He crippled that poor feller so he hobbled around the rest of his natural life.
You won't need this no more. You know, Hoss, it's real interesting what a fella can learn just from watching other people. It's like you watching that cowboy with the busted foot. I lived with the Crows for quite a while, and they taught me all about scouting. I ain't never had a chance to use that lesson yet.
Tell you what, Jim. Wouldn't be fair for me and you to tear up old Bill's saloon here with Cal, so I'll cut cards with you to see who takes him outside.
Nah, you take him, Hoss. I got a terrible temper, and, well, just be our luck winding up with nobody to try for Mr. Carter's murder.
But, Jim, Cal here accused you. I think it'd be fair if you took him.
No, all right, go on, cut him.
You rascal, you beat me fair and square. Well, you go ahead and take him, Jim, and I'll just hang around here and wait for you.
This ain't gonna take too long. Come on, Pard.
Wait a minute. What are you going to do?
Now, Cal, if you don't know that by now, me and old Jim sure have wasted a lot of talent. Sure enough. Ain't you got something you'd like to tell us?
It was self-defense. We quarreled over the pelts, and I shot him, but it was self-defense.
He was shot in the back.
Your lawyer sure is gonna have a dandy time. Well, Jamie's yours. Why don't you take him?
I ain't much good at words right now. And, well, there ain't a whole lot of people that I'd say this to, but you know, Hoss, you're a real man. Almost my equal.
Almost your equal? Why, you big overgrown
All right,
no-good
you
for
two,
nothing.
look, haven't you two had enough of this?
Just 'cause this outside son of yours thinks he whooped me in a little old fight.
Little old fight? I'll be nursing these bruises for 6 months from that little old fight.
Well, when you get your health back, why don't you come on up to my mountains? You know, this here low altitude sure has been bad for my wind.
Jim, you have yourself a good trip back, and stay out of the way of them bayous here.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Cartwright. Oh, say goodbye to Adam and little Joe for me, will you?
I sure will.
By the way, when the sheriff gives you my money, why, just take out the price of my horse and outfit.
No, never mind about that. I'm going to charge that to his account.
Jim, so long.
You know, Hoss, even from up here, you're a big man.
Why,
You're no good for nothing. I've been wanting to do that myself.
Hey, where's your firecrackers, Pop?
My father, he will get me some when he's finished out of the barber shop.
Well, you may have a long wait the way that barber's cutting hair in there.
Barber, tell me something. You and Jenny Holcomb went steady for 5 years.
That's right.
Now, how come all of a sudden you decided you didn't want to be friends no more?
What the devil are you talking about, Sam?
You hear that, Rodriguez? He wants to know what the devil I'm talking
Well, what
about.
are you talking about? Everybody knows Jenny and me's getting married next week.
That's exactly what I am talking about. My wife and me, we got along real amiable like until we got married. And then, my, oh, my. I tell you, Barbie, you just ain't got good sense. Now, you laugh while you can. Because after next week, your laughing days is over, boy.
I see an awful lot of laughing, but not much cutting. Frank, how can you take so much time cutting so little hair?
Now, don't you worry, little Joe. Your day's coming a little later.
Oh, with this hair, are you kidding?
Yes, I am.
Hey, you kids!
All right, you Hey, Marco. Good luck. Got some firecrackers. That ought to hold your pop gets out.
Thank you, Joe.
Right.
After you, ma'am.
Ah, she's a real pretty gal, ain't she, Duke?
Guess that don't do Duke no good. She didn't even give him a tumbler. Wait a minute, honey. I want to talk to you. What are you afraid of? All I want to do is talk to you and get acquainted.
Just let me alone.
Come on. I'll buy a haircut.
Thanks, Frank.
Oh, you're coming to the wedding, ain't you, Sheriff?
Yeah, if this old goat here don't talk you out of getting married.
Not a chance.
Joe?
Hey, you're not gonna let him charge you full price for that, are you, Roy?
Will you stop?
Get in here. Get in here. Hey, come on, now, don't cut too much off, will you, Frank?
Now, you ain't gonna tell me how to cut your hair, are you, little Joe?
I just want to make sure my hat still fits, you know? Be a little wait, boys. 2 ahead of you.
Yeah, we got lots of time.
Just find yourself a chair someplace there. Hey, don't get carried away with the scissors, Frank.
You in that
Just
chair.
hold your head. Will?
Would you mind letting me take your place?
You gotta be kidding. I waited for 2 hours to get in this chair.
If you're willing to wait that long, you ought to be willing to wait a little while longer.
Like I told you, there's 2 ahead of you.
Yeah, I know, but I'm in a hurry. How about it?
Well, you're gonna wait your turn just like everybody else. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, but I'm not like anybody else.
That's good.
This makes the difference.
You better get out of that chair, mister. No sense getting killed over a little thing like a haircut.
Duke here is touchy about the way he looks. You don't get out of that chair, you'll never have need of a haircut.
Better listen to him, mister. Like I told you, he's touchy.
I've seen too many mean loco killers in my life not to recognize one when I see him.
You shut up, old man.
Better get out of that chair, little Joe, before he kills you.
Now,
You are getting out of that little chair, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. But I'm gonna remember you, mister.
Why don't you sit over here, mister?
Hey, Carlos.
I'll need a shave.
I would also like a shave, por favor.
What do you think you're doing?
Carlos, get out of the chair.
No, Joe. I know what he wants. But it is not right. If you want to shave, you will have to wait until after I get mine. Somebody tell him to get out of that chair before I kill him.
Come on, Carlos. This is no time to be a hero. Get out of the chair.
No, Joe. It's all right. He will wait. No man would kill for such a foolish reason. Por favor, barber. Get busy with that lather.
Carlos, don't be a fool.
Barber? Barber! I'm mighty particular about my hair. I don't want you to take too much off the top. Trim it nice and neat in the back. And keep the sideburns long.
No sign of them?
Not a thing.
Joe, why don't you come inside? Have some supper with Paco and me.
Paco's in there?
Yeah. He has no relatives this side of Mexico. Roy Coffey wrote to his grandparents. Until he hears back, I told him I'd take care of the boy.
Well, how's he feeling?
How do you think he feels?
Poor kid, every time I think about what happened in there.
Joe. Nothing you could do. It wasn't your fault. You're not responsible for Mr. Rodriguez's death.
I know it wasn't my fault, Pa, but I just wish there was something I could have done.
What could you have done? Sam Snedden and Barbara told me what happened and how. Joe, sometimes situations arise, and there's nothing you can do about them.
Yeah, well, there's something I can do about it now. I can find Miller. Settle it fresh once.
Now, we caught a couple of them. Frank Walden's barn. Roy's got him in jail in Virginia City.
Did you get the one that did the killing?
Well, we don't know. According to them, they didn't have anything to do with it.
I had to go to town, Pa.
You be careful now.
Right.
Hey, Joe, tell me if one of these fellas is the killer, will you?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. Get out better than that. Let go of him. Let go of him. That's the one. Joe. That's the one. That's the one.
Paco, how you feeling?
Joe? About my father. I know there's nothing you could have done.
Thanks, Paco.
Howdy, Ben.
Roy?
Joe? Hey, Paco, got a letter for you.
Oh, you heard from his grandparents then?
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you were able to get in touch with them.
And so was I.
against us a murderer.
Your Honor, it isn't up to Mr. Albright to decide whether Duke Miller is a murderer. That's up to the jury. Until a decision is reached, I insist that Mr. Albright refrain
from referring to Mr. Miller or one of the defendants as a murderer.
You see that you do that, Mr. Albright.
I'm sorry, Judge. Your witness.
Mr. Cartwright, I understand that you were unconscious at the time of the killing. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct, but I came to immediately and...
That's all. No more questions.
He had the gun in his hand.
Your Honor?
That's all, son. You can step down.
Miller maintains that he never stepped foot inside that barber shop. But you have heard 3 men swear that Miller did come into that barber shop and that he murdered Carlos Rodriguez in cold blood right before their eyes. Gentlemen, there is no need for me to say more. If ever a man was guilty of murder and deserved to be hung, that man is Duke Miller. Now, I know you're going to find him guilty, and I know that he is going to hang. The state rests, Your Honor.
All right. Now, Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Gentlemen, you have heard the 2 defendants state that Joseph Cartwright tried to strangle Duke Miller in his cell in Virginia City. Now, I don't know why Joseph Cartwright wanted to kill Mr. Miller, but I do know that he hates him. So do you. Therefore, I want you to completely disregard his testimony, because the testimony of a man full of hate is very unreliable.
I object, Your Honor.
I'll sustain that. Mr. Reed, I will instruct the jury what to disregard.
I'm sorry. Your Honor, I would like for the barber and Mr. Snedden to come up here and take another look at Mr. Brennan and Mr. Miller.
Objection, Your Honor.
Just a minute. Now, they've had plenty of time to see them, Mr. Reed. It isn't necessary for them to come back up here and...
Your Honor, I insist that they come up here and positively identify the defendants as 2 of the men who were in that barber shop, and I will prove them wrong. Now, there is no doubt that someone killed Carlos Rodriguez. But there is grave doubt, and I am certain that it was not Duke Miller.
All right, Mr. Snedden, Mr. Thomas, come on up. Come on, come on. Come on, right up here.
Now, gentlemen, if you'll stand right here in front of the defendants, and don't take your eyes off them.
Mr. Reed, you're sure now that you're not taking up this court's time for nothing?
Please bear with me, Your Honor.
All right.
Now, Mr. Brennan and Mr. Miller admit that they rode through Virginia City the day of the murder. They swore they did not go into the barber shop. They swore that they were not in the company of a 3rd man. Now, maybe 3 men did enter that barber shop. I don't know. But Cal Brennan was not one of them, nor was Duke Miller. Mr. Snedden, why do you wear glasses?
What do you think I wear them for?
Because you have very poor eyesight.
Well, I got good enough eyesight to know that these were the 2 that came into the barber shop that day. And that's the one that killed Carlos Rodriguez. And you can't disprove that. You bet you can't. We know who we saw.
Then you still insist. You are still positive that those are the 2 men that went into the barber shop?
Yes.
And could you identify the 3rd man you claim went into the barber shop if you ever saw him again?
I'm sure I could. So could I.
Now, gentlemen, the prosecutor bases his entire case on an old man who has very poor eyesight and a barber who admits that he was terrified at the time the crime was committed. Now, I don't think that's sufficient evidence to hang a man. But I can see from the looks of your faces that you do. You still believe these witnesses. All right. I want you to go on believing them. I mean that. I want you to believe them. Because I'm going to base my entire defense on the fact that you do believe them, even though I know and am certain of a fact
But they are mistaken.
Floyd!
Mr. Snedden, do you recognize that man?
That's the one. That's the other one that came into the barber shop with them.
That's him, all right.
And you both positively identify him as the man who came into the barber shop on February the 2nd with Calvin Brennan and Duke Miller?
I'm positive he's the one.
There ain't no doubt about it.
That's all, gentlemen. You may go back to your seats. Your Honor, the man the two witnesses just identified is Floyd Brennan, Calvin Brennan's brother. Take off his hat. Calvin isn't very proud of his brother Floyd because he's a criminal. As soon as he is through here, the two deputies will escort him back to his jail cell in Kingman, where he's been incarcerated for more than a year.
No, I object, Your Honor. What kind of a trial?
All right. Quiet. Quiet, please. All right, Mr. Reed, go ahead.
Thank you. Gentlemen, they said they were positive. Positive that this man was in the barber shop. But on that fatal day, Floyd Brennan was locked up in jail more than 500 miles away from Virginia City. So how in God's name can you believe anything those witnesses have said? You can't, gentlemen. You can't. Floyd Brennan was not in that barber shop. Cal Brennan was not in that barber shop. Duke Miller was not in that barber shop. So, gentlemen, you can't. You can't possibly bring in a verdict of guilty unless you are willing to make a mockery of the word justice.
Quiet. Quiet, please. You gentlemen reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
The defendants, please stand up. How do you find?
We find both the defendants not guilty.
Not guilty.
Joseph!
Not guilty, Your Honor. How much proof do you need? There were 3 eyewitnesses that saw Miller kill Mr. Rodriguez.
Just a minute. Now, the jury has handed down a decision. It stands.
What kind of a decision? What proof do you need?
Now, that is enough.
Oh, no, it's not enough.
Get in here. Joseph. Quiet, please.
Did you hear me? Stop it.
Young man, that is going to cost you 30 days in jail.
Oh, really? I could probably get that sentence cut considerably, Judge, if I could afford Mr. Reed for an attorney.
I said be quiet. Your Honor, my son has been under great strain for the past couple of weeks. I beg the court's indulgence.
All right. All right, Mr. Cartwright. Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell all of you this. Duke Miller was tried in a proper court of law, and he was declared innocent. Now, if anyone decides to reverse that decision by putting a bullet into Duke Miller, the killer will be tried in my courtroom. And I promise you he will be hanged by the neck until dead. This court stands adjourned.
In my whole life. What we saw Miller kill Paco's father right in front of our eyes. And just because that jury happened to be...
Roy, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to stand around and do nothing
while them murderers in there go free, are we?
You know what we ought to do? We ought to go in there, pull him out of jail, and hang him up ourselves.
That's the first sensible thing I've heard all day.
Now, wait a minute, boys. We come over here to Carson City to attend a trial. Now, that trial's over.
But just because a smart lawyer happened...
Now, look, he was tried according to law. The jury brought in a verdict of not guilty. Now, no matter how any of us feel, there's not going to be any hanging, legally or illegal. Huh?
Now, Joseph, what happened in there is final. You heard what the judge said. There'll be no more trouble. So let's get on home.
How's Paco feeling?
I thought I could use a glass of milk.
I'll bring it up to him.
With a gun in your hand? I tried to talk to him. All he wants to do is kill Duke Miller personally.
Yeah, well, don't you worry about him killing Duke Miller, Bob. Because I'm going to do it for him.
Evidently, all I've taught you means nothing. That boy upstairs needs help. He's being eaten away by hate. He won't listen to me. But he likes you, Joseph. So, you talk to him. He admires you. You advise him. Tell him that the sacred book lies. Tell him that vengeance belongs to Joe Cartwright and Paco Rodriguez. Tell him that the courts are to be obeyed only when they decide in our favor. Tell him there's no such thing as human dignity or decency. You tell him that men have the God-given right to turn themselves into jungle animals. Go ahead. Tell him that. Isn't that what you believe?
Brought you a little milk.
I don't want any.
Come on, do you some good. Take a little bit anyway. Hey, you mind if we do a little talking?
I don't mind.
Well, family and I have been talking downstairs, and we think it might be a good idea if you went to your grandparents right away.
My grandparents will not see Paco until my father's death has been avenged. You're gonna kill the man who took my father's life, and I'm gonna help you. You meant it, didn't you?
Yes, I meant it when I said it, Paco. Let me try to explain something to you. When a fella grows up like I have, he sometimes says things when he's angry. He forgets some of the truths that he learned when he was a boy.
What truth?
Well, where does a man go when he dies, Paco? A good man.
To heaven?
And where does a bad man go when he dies?
To hell.
Yes, that's where he goes. Because nobody goes unpunished, Paco.
The man who killed my father, he must be punished now.
The court said he's innocent, even though we know he's guilty. Now, that's because the courts are not perfect, Paco. But God is.
Yes, but...
You believe in God, don't you?
Yes.
All right, then you must believe that God will punish Duke Miller. Look, I know it's hard. It's hard for you and it's hard for me. But, son, if you believe in God, then you must believe that.
You want me to go to my grandparents in Juarez and leave vengeance to God?
Yes, that's what I want.
I don't want to, but if you go with me, little Joe, I'm ready.
Well, look, I got a lot of things to do around here. Maybe Horse or Adam could take you.
What things? If you believe that we must leave vengeance to God, what things have you got to do?
Nothing. Take you to Mexico. Get some sleep. We'll leave tomorrow.
Well, it just about makes a load, don't it?
Hey, Hoss, finish tying this stuff on for me, all right? Yeah, Pa.
Just want you to know that I appreciate you volunteering to take Paco to his grandparents.
Well, I didn't exactly volunteer to take him, but...
Well, but I do want your word that you're going straight to Juarez. Nowhere else.
I couldn't very well go chasing after Miller in a wagon load of supplies.
No. But I also want your word that you're not going to go after Miller afterwards either. And if you happen to bump into him, no guns.
All right, you have my word.
You really mean that?
He asked me to talk to Paco last night, talk things out with him. What you were really asking me to do was talk things out with myself, wasn't it? I guess I better get Paco and tell him time to go.
I'm ready, Joe. Adios, padre. Adios, Senor Cartwright.
Bye, Paco. Oh, Paco. This letter's for your grandfather. Maybe someday we'll come down to Mexico and visit with you, huh?
You tell your grandpa we'll write him about the ranch, huh?
Thank you, Senor Sheriff.
Joe, you take care of things. And of Paco.
Don't worry, I'll take care of him, Pa. What are we trying to prove?
Oh, it's a nice town. Who knows? We might see that Cartwright kid again.
Ain't worth it, Duke. You ain't forgot how you killed that Mexican. You're pressing your luck. Hey, fellas, why don't you go in and say hello to the sheriff? I like to have this table. Do you mind?
Well, there's plenty of tables, can't you see?
Yeah, I know, but I like to have this one.
Look, I said there's...
Hello, Sam.
Sam.
You remember me, don't you?
You got a lot of gall showing your face in this town.
Sam, let bygones be bygones. To show you I ain't mad at you, trying to get me hung, I'm gonna pay for your dinner. How's that?
I ain't gonna eat with the likes of you. And I ain't sitting with the likes of you.
Sit down, old man.
How's your friend Cartwright? Still pushy as ever?
You'd find out soon enough if he knew you was in town.
Well, that's exactly what I want him to know. You know where to find him?
I know where to find him.
Will you tell him I'm here?
Yes. I'll tell him you're here. And I'll tell the sheriff, too, you skunks are back in town.
This place is too fancy for me. I'm going next door and have a drink.
Oh, look who's here. Hello, can I talk to you now?
Just let me alone, will you?
What's the matter with you? Why are you being so standoffish?
Just
I'm not
leave
such
me
a bad guy.
You look kind of shaggy, Duke. Maybe better clean up and give it another try, huh?
Maybe you're right. Come on.
Hey, where you going?
Lover boy wants a haircut. What else?
Now, that's what Sam told me.
Barbara?
I wouldn't believe. I'll be right with...
Need a haircut.
We're closed up.
I said I need a haircut.
I told you we're closed up.
You're open now. What's the matter, Barber? Aren't you glad to see me?
Come on, he's not gonna hurt you. Come on.
Want the same kind of haircut you gave me the last time.
Sure, Mr. Miller.
You know, the last time I was here, I left in such a hurry, I forgot to pay you. So this time, I'm gonna pay you double. How's that?
Fine, Mr. Miller. That's...
Duke Miller's back in town, and them two fellers is with him. They're over in the barber shop. I couldn't find the sheriff. Let's go get him. I'll take this rifle.
Leave it alone, Sam. We don't want anything to do with him.
What in tarnation's wrong with you? You said after trial you was going to get him.
Yeah, well, I changed my mind.
Little Joe,
Ain't you gonna do anything about it?
Remember the talk we had last night, Paco? You remember what we talked about? Well, I meant what I said. Paco, I believe what I said. I'm gonna go in the bank and cash that draft. I want you to sit here in the wagon and wait for me, just like I told you.
I never thought I'd live to see the day when a Cartwright would turn coward.
Little Joe's no coward. He said God will punish this man.
In due time, Paco, in due time. But I still say little Joe's a coward. And so would your father if he hadn't been killed by them 3 skunks down there in that barber shop.
Hello, Cartwright.
Paco, you all right?
Yeah, I had to come. My father wasn't a coward. I can't be either.
I understand. All right, Duke, nobody's hurt. Let the kid go.
Get out, kid. Not you, Cartwright. You stay.
Going back to the wagon.
What are you gonna do?
Just go on back to the wagon.
Put your guns away, fellas. I want this nice and legal. I want him bruised up so he'll never forget us.
Just let him go. Hey, Barber. Come on over here.
Get me out of this chair.
Oh, Frank, you did a beautiful job.
Yeah, I figure that's one of the best jobs I've ever done.
Let me out of this chair!
We're gonna let you out of the chair. I don't want you to go out without your tie. Because we'd like you to see the job we did.
No hat, Duke. I want my hat.
No, you're gonna see the whole town, Duke.
Don't let anybody see me like this. Don't let anybody see me like this, please. Please don't let anybody see me like this.
Everybody's gonna see you!
No!
Come on, let them see you, Duke! Go ahead, let them see you!
Paco! 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 Paco, that's enough.
That's enough. Said you cry. You get it all out, Paco. You've done all you can do. Come on, now we go home. Go home.
Joe. Joe.
Oh, big cat. Big cat up by the herd.
Hey, what happened? Joe's horse stumbled. Get to town and get the doctor, quick.
Oh, he's a big one, Pa. He's the biggest one I've ever seen. He's gonna raise Cain with those cattle up there.
Don't worry about that now.
Is Cochise all right?
Yeah, she's all right. She's luckier than you.
Gee, I don't even know what it was. I didn't see a thing. Must have been a chuck hole or something.
When I saw you fall, Joe, for a moment, it was just like your mother. The same way that afternoon, she came riding up to the house. There's so much of her in you, Joe. So much. Fine instrument, eh, monsieur? 35 inches of authority.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir. Are you Marius Angeville?
A bit worn in the tooth, a little bit sour in the stomach, but the very same.
Well, I'm glad I found you, sir. My name is Ben Cartwright.
Should I know you?
Oh, no, sir, no. I've just arrived in New Orleans. I have a ranch up in Nevada.
Oh, you've come a long way, monsieur.
Yes, sir. Around the Cape.
By ship?
By clipper.
Fine voyage?
Yes, sir.
Ah, how I missed that.
Sir, there was a man worked on my ranch. He was from New Orleans. Name of Jean de Marigny.
Jean? It's been so long. Is he well? Happy?
No, sir. He's dead.
Jean? He was like my own son.
His last thoughts were of you and his wife. I promised I'd see you both. And, of course, his mother.
His mother. Forgive me. But there are some things...
Sorry to have to bring you such bad news, Madame de Marigny. But I hope that it might bring you some consolation to know of your son's courage.
I'm growing old, monsieur, and quite dry of tears. The de Marignys carry a proud but bitter heritage. We cried at the death of the Emperor. We cried in the streets of New Orleans when the French flag came down. And I cried when my son ran away from his disgrace.
His disgrace, madame?
You knew little about him.
Only that he had separated from his wife, whom he loved very dearly.
Love is often a crown of thorns.
Yes, I suppose that's true. I hope to see his wife, Marie.
I do not wish to discuss her, monsieur.
Well, madame, she is your son's wife.
Marie Delval was never meant to be the wife of a de Marigny. Forgive me, monsieur, but that is not your concern. If I can be of service while you are in New Orleans...
Oh, thank you, madame. There is one thing.
Oui?
I brought a shipment of raw furs with me from Nevada. I was hoping I might dispose of them while I'm here.
But I have little connection with my husband's business, monsieur.
Well, Jean suggested that I contact your late husband's partner. He might arrange to sell my furs for me in the Parisian market.
I shall be happy to introduce you to Monsieur Clermont.
Thank you.
I will arrange for a meeting and notify you.
Excellent.
Where are you staying?
With a friend, Marius Angeville, in the Passage de la Bourse.
You know Marius Angeville?
Well, yes, he's a friend of your son's.
That one is no friend to my son. Bonjour, monsieur.
Thank you, madam. Good day. Jean's mother wasn't too friendly toward me. She isn't exactly fond of her daughter-in-law, is she?
Well, she isn't, never was. I'm afraid Marie isn't very fond of me. We may not receive a warm reception, my boy. I haven't seen her since the day Jean left New Orleans.
Jean told me that you were very good friends.
We were, until I challenged her beloved cousin Edouard Darcy to a duel. She's never forgiven me for wanting to kill him, which I was most anxious to do.
So instead, I presented the monsieur with a keg of Barbados rum. Oh, Monsieur Defoe was chagrined. I couldn't imagine why. After all, what did he expect? At any rate, he had a nervous breakdown and hasn't returned to the club since.
Marvelous. Marie, tell us about the time you rode into the Salle d'Orléans in the middle of a ball.
No, Andre, I have no more time for tales. Marius Angeville. I thought by now the devil had claimed her for his own.
I'm afraid both you and he will have to wait a trifle longer. I brought a friend to meet you, fresh from the wilderness, Marie. May I present Monsieur Cartwright from Virginia City, Nevada?
Madame.
I've heard there is such a place.
Yes, ma'am, I'm afraid there is. Full of wild animals and much wilder people.
Now, if you'll forgive me, I'm going to the bar.
Madame, may I speak with you in private?
Monsieur, is that a Western custom, demanding a lady's attention on such short acquaintance?
What I have to say is rather serious.
Serious? Why, no one is serious here. People come here for pleasure.
What I have to say, it's about your husband.
Harry, I thought you were going to join us.
A little cognac, René, please. It seems the game-legged old Hotspur himself has decided to distinguish us with a visit.
Why not, Darcy? We will squat in hell together, you and I.
If you're in a hurry to get there, Hotspur, I'm always available to assist you on your way.
Next time, the boot may be on the other foot.
I am pleased to have met you, monsieur. Marie, please hurry.
Monsieur, I do not wish to discuss my husband. I think you had better leave.
Is your husband of no interest to you?
Of no interest whatsoever.
I'm afraid there's something that you don't know.
There is nothing I wish to know about Jean. Bonjour, monsieur.
Monsieur. My name is Darcy. I'm the proprietor here.
How do you do, sir?
Are you a friend of Marius?
Yes, in a way.
You don't seem to be attracted to our little sport. Most Americans find it very stimulating.
I didn't come here to gamble. I'm afraid I'm not exactly attracted to blind chance.
Perhaps you're attracted more by aesthetic things?
And if I am?
Oh, that would surprise me. You lack a certain polish in your technique.
I guess my polish has been dulled by hard work, monsieur. Good night.
I fought amid the grape shot and bullets of Waterloo. A saber in my hand, with valiant men, honorable men.
You've had too much to drink, Marius.
Don't tell me what I've had. In vino veritas, in wine, there is truth.
Let me help you. What is it?
An old wound. This afternoon it became as fresh as the day I received it. Defending the honor of an old friend. Ah, Jean, you came to me, but I failed you. We all failed you.
Better? What did that mean? You all failed him.
Well, he'd just been married. He adored his young and beautiful wife. But when he believed her unfaithful, he ran. His whole world shattered.
Now I'm beginning to understand why Madame de Marigny didn't want to talk about her.
I never believed the stories spread about Marie. I tried to prove them false. She was the innocent victim of deceit.
What was the truth?
The real facts about what happened are locked in her heart, along with grief and disillusionment.
Venga, abbiamo esto! Venga, abbiamo esto!
Diable, it's you again.
I'm a stubborn man, madame.
Please go away.
I will, as soon as you give me a chance to talk to you.
I know all I need to know about Jean.
Do you know that he's dead? I'm sorry. That's what I've been trying to tell you. He made me promise to seek you out and let you know. Thank you. I'm sorry I had to give it the news so bluntly, but you left me little choice.
Go on, monsieur.
Jean died after saving my life. He was a brave and courageous man.
I accept your statement, monsieur, but it does not fit the Jean de Marigny I knew.
He asked me to tell you that he loved you.
Love. He didn't know what it meant to love.
A man on his deathbed doesn't lie.
All right, you've told me. Now, good day, monsieur.
That isn't all he asked me to say to you.
I'm not interested.
He asked me to say that he forgave you.
Gave me?
Yes, his words were, he loved you and he forgave you.
For what? He believed a horrible lie. It was absurd. He couldn't have accepted it and really loved me. Instead of trusting me, he ran off, leaving me disgraced and humiliated. Where was he when I needed him? When my baby needed him?
I didn't know there was a child.
There is no child. His mother took him from me at birth. He died of the fever.
Jean never told me about that. Did he know?
If he knew, would he have cared? Leave me alone, monsieur, please. Touché. Merci, cher maître.
Well, you have speed and accuracy, but your long lunge and cart left you open to my riposte. You're too anxious for the kill.
I'm an impatient woman, Marius.
That could be the death of you. Another bout. Three touches.
I'm tired.
You didn't come here for a fencing lesson, Marie. Not after all this time.
I'm not sure why I came. I'm not sure of anything anymore.
Well, I can't give you any fatherly advice. There are no words to prevent memories from coming back to haunt you.
You remind me of a gaunt old tree, gnarled and sad, all covered with Spanish moss and standing up to your knees in dark water. You've been a loyal friend, Marius. Even though you were wrong about my cousin Edouard. He's been very good to me. I think I wanted to tell you I'm sorry.
Oh, please don't run off on my account. I'll be out of your way.
Marius told me you wouldn't be here today.
I came back sooner than I'd planned. I was out walking around your magnificent city.
I'm sorry if I've been rude, but you just don't understand.
Allow me. New Orleans is a strange city. Strange and unpredictable.
There's none other like it in the world.
Find the people rather difficult to understand, too. They're a blend of so many things.
Yes. Good and evil. Bitterness and sorcery and virtue. You could live a lifetime and find nothing worse than warm sunshine or bubbles and honey. Or you might suddenly become aware of the most terrible rottenness.
The West is like that, too. Out west, there are trees that touch the blue of the sky. Unimaginably beautiful. And yet there's an anger and violence about nature that seems to be there just to test people. But it hardens them, too, makes them strong and unfeeling. It's a man's country.
Are you going back soon?
Yes. I thought maybe, before I go, maybe we could have supper together. And I promised not to talk about anything more personal than bubbles and honey.
I'm sorry. Good day, monsieur. Bonjour, Marius.
She's like a woman possessed. One moment gay and full of life, the next driven, running to escape from something that seems to chase her. Well, she loses herself in her way and I in mine.
Gotta learn to recover from sorrow. I did from mine.
Did you? I think not. You're still nursing your wounds just like me.
I learned to forget, Marius.
Marie can't forget. A husband who deserted her, a mother-in-law who loathed her. They had to be married secretly to avoid her interference.
What about this other man, the one who was supposed to?
Well, I never found out who he was. One of Darcy's friends, perhaps. I tried to make Jean see the truth, but it was no use.
Well, it isn't my affair. I have my own responsibilities.
Jean saved your life. He gave you this responsibility.
Just a minute, Marius. I paid my debt to Jean.
How? By bringing us the sad tale of his death? By bargaining with his mother to sell your furs?
Those furs represent a year's work. I need the money to expand my ranch. Besides, what the devil could I do here that you have not been able to do?
You could help me find the other man.
Oh, that happened years ago. Wouldn't help Jean now anyway. It's a dead issue.
Not to me. And Marie isn't a dead issue either. You could talk to her. Make her see that Darcy isn't what she thinks. That he isn't trying to help her. that he wants only to fulfill his own ambitions by marrying her off to some fat aristocrat.
Well, what makes you think she'd listen to me? Anyway, I'm not going to get involved. I have 2 sons. I'm going to get back to them.
Maybe you're right, my boy. Why bother with other people's agonies when you have your own to keep you company?
I do not compromise with situations, Madame de Marigny.
Then you are aware that this man is a threat, such as Angeville never was.
I can see the possibility, but I'm not overly disturbed by it.
He is young, aggressive, and he feels a debt of gratitude to my son.
All very subversive attributes.
I view this matter of the Americans' intrusion with utmost gravity.
There is no cause for alarm, madame. The man I persuaded to be attentive to your son's wife is now residing on the island of Haiti.
He could come back. The American could get the truth out of him. And if he searches hard enough, he could discover from various sources that Marie's child is not dead. That could lead to the most undesirable results. I want him to leave New Orleans. I have arranged for his furs to be bought so that he will have no excuse to stay. But just in case he is stubborn, I want him out of here. Do you understand?
I understand perfectly, madame. If you can afford the expense, I can afford the inconvenience. Madame.
I saw you from the street, madame. May I?
I come here often. I was brought up in the convent after my parents died.
It's a beautiful place.
I was happy here, though something of a rebel.
Yes, I think I can imagine you as a rebel.
I used to climb that tree and look over the wall, fascinated by the beautiful French ladies in their Paris gowns, with shining black hair and skin like roses. I couldn't wait to wash my face in sour buttermilk.
When I was a boy, I used to stand on a pier and watch the great clipper ships putting out to sea. I used to imagine myself a captain on a quarterdeck, scanning the horizon, looking for rich new lands to discover. For a long time, I had to content myself with finding my heroes in books.
I think that was far better. Then if they disillusion you, you can throw them into the fire. It's getting late.
May I walk you home? Who were your heroes, Marie?
Don John of Austria, Henri of Navarre, Cardinal Richelieu.
Bold, forceful men.
Perfect heroes for a young Creole girl who hadn't the vaguest ideas about love and life.
You seem to have some definite ideas now.
About life? We don't live. We're only in the expectation of living.
And love?
To love is to place one's happiness in someone else's hands.
I see so much of my own loneliness in you. Marie, I know I have no right to ask. What happened that night?
I was alone. Jean had finally worked up the courage to tell his mother we'd been married. But he wanted to do it by himself. I must have been sleeping for some time when I became aware of someone near me. I thought it was Jean. When I realized it wasn't, I struggled. That's when Jean came in the room.
It must have been terrible for you.
He should have believed me.
Yes, he should have.
His mother was anxious to believe the lie.
Something should have been done about that lie a long time ago, Marie.
How popular you're becoming, cousin. That Marius and his American friend are becoming regular customers.
That's Monsieur Clermont with his back to us at the table. Wait for me at the bar.
Leave Marius alone, Edward.
Don't concern yourself. My quarrel with the old Hotspur is ancient history.
Mr. Clermont, I'm Ben Cartwright.
Oh, it is a pleasure to meet you, monsieur.
I got your note and came as quickly as I could.
Oh, yes, about the furs. Madame de Marigny spoke to me. You play poker, Monsieur Cartwright?
Well, I thought you wanted to discuss business, sir.
Oh, certainly, my boy, certainly. I have a room in the back reserved for our negotiation. Won't you join us for a little while, and we'll discuss business later.
Please do join us, monsieur.
Thank you.
I have one vice. Cards.
Well, gentlemen, I have 3 queens.
Ah, Monsieur Darcy, have you had the pleasure of meeting Monsieur Cartwright?
Yes. He's the gentleman who does not devote himself to blind chance.
Certainly doing well with it tonight.
Throw a lucky man into the Nile, says an old Arabian proverb, and he'll come up with a fish in his mouth.
Monsieur Clermont, I hope my luck will improve tomorrow. Monsieur, enchanté.
Thank you. May I join in?
Please do. I believe you, Monsieur Cartwright.
I'll pay for the pleasure of seeing your hand, Monsieur Cartwright.
Straight.
Incredible luck.
It's your deal.
Marius, won't you join me?
Thank you.
Monsieur Cartwright, may I see those cards?
You are a cheat and a thief.
Darcy, you cut those cards.
Barbarian.
You accuse me of... Are you uncouth backwoods? I demand a satisfaction for this insult, monsieur. The plantation allard at dawn. Weapons, rapiers. Bonui.
He can't fence, Darcy, and you know it.
If he doesn't wish to satisfy me, he better conduct himself out of town immediately.
You won't need to do either.
Maurice, you stay out of this.
I'm already in it.
This is my affair. Now stop interfering.
You can have him when I'm through with him.
How popular I am. Gentlemen, it'll be a pleasure to do business with both of you. Whoever is first is immaterial.
We let the cards decide.
Now, Marius, listen to me.
Edward, no, please.
Marie, you stay out of this.
Marius, will you please...
Cut the cards.
Don't be ridiculous.
All right, I'll cut them for you. Yours, queen. Mine, king. You lose, my boy. All right, Darcy. The Oak Grove, a large plantation at dawn.
Perfectly satisfactory.
Now, Marius, I'm
Come
not...
along, my boy.
Marius, will you...
Come on!
Edward, no, please. Monsieur Cartwright is no match for your rapier. He knows nothing of such things. And Marius is an old man. He's crippled.
Why are you so concerned about Mr. Cartwright?
Oh, come on, Marius. I was tricked into that duel.
Of course you were. Why? Obviously, you're considered a threat.
A threat? To what? To whom? By whom?
Obviously, again, by Madame de Marigny, which is why she's hired Darcy to arrange your convenient demise.
Well, it's still my fight, and I won't have you interfere.
My dear boy, do you actually believe you could meet Darcy in a cartel with rapiers? The man's a professional duelist. He's killed 4 men. He half-crippled me, a fencing master.
Well, then we'll have to find some other way to settle it, that's all.
There is no other way. Unless I kill the man first, he'll kill you.
Marius, I'm not helpless. I may not be a fencer, but I can hold my own with the best of them, with my fists or with practically any kind of firearm.
It's too late for that. He's maneuvered you, so he has the choice of weapons.
You'd better understand me, Marius. I'm not leaving town, and I'm not going to let you do my fighting for me.
And there's something you must understand. I have been given another chance, and you're not taking it from me. You have everything. A great future. Sons. For me, there is only honor. Without it, I'm nothing.
Honor. The word hangs in the air of New Orleans like the refrain of a song.
I taught you the art of fencing, Marie. I taught you the code that holds men to the high standard of honor and courtesy.
The code. Marius, this time you will die. I know it.
Perhaps, but with dignity.
Ken, Marius is just trying to save you. He can't win.
He's not going to have a chance to try.
Ben!
I've heard all I want to hear, Marius. The discussion is over.
Well, maybe you're right, my boy. Maybe it's just the stubborn pride of an old man.
What about you? How are you going to fight Darcy?
I thought your concern was for Marius.
I love the dear man. But
But what?
my concern isn't only for Marius.
Marius!
I couldn't go to sleep. I just saw Marius and Darcy headed for the Oaks.
Fool. You'll have to show me where they hold those stupid duels.
My carriage is outside.
A wound?
No wound.
Continue.
Marius.
Marius, you old fool. I failed you, my boy. I failed you both.
Ben.
You know what you are, Darcy? A hired assassin. Fighting an old man. You're a white-livered, cowardly disgrace to yourself and your so-called code of honor. I consider that a challenge which supersedes our previous arrangement. My choice of weapon is pistols. Here and now.
Agreeable, monsieur. Andre, the pistols.
You did not fire, monsieur.
You'll live, Darcy. If you tell the truth about Marie and the man you hired to disgrace her.
You know nothing of the matter of honor.
Fire and be done with it! Honor? What do you know about honor? Tell him, Darcy. Tell him the truth about Marie. Tell him!
Yes, yes. Madame de Marigny arranged the whole thing. Through me.
Thank you, my boy. I'm knee-deep in dark water, but no longer sad.
Don't cry, Marie. He died as he wanted to, according to the code by which he lived.
Code. I'm sick to death of the code. Of all this stupid, shallow desperation that drives decent men to destroy themselves. Look at this hanging moss with its slime and sickness. Like this proud society that builds a wall around itself and shuts out the world.
Marie, there's a world beyond that wall. The real world. A beautiful world.
Where trees touch the sky.
Yes, where trees touch the sky and they grow straight and tall and clean. Where life is reborn every moment, every day.
Not for me. Death follows me.
Only in the past. Only in the past. There's life ahead for you. For us. Without you, it would be empty for me.
Empty? But with your sons? The future you're building for them?
Until I came here, I thought my life was quite full. My sons were all I needed. But now I know, without you, it could never be complete. Come back with me. Be my wife. I love you.
Ben, I love you.
A little time we had together, your mother and I, here in the Ponderosa. From the time we were married until the time you were born. Until that day she came riding up to the house and fell.
Doctor's on his way, Paul. Oh, brother, I thought you was half dead.
Are you all right?
Yeah, sure, I'm all right. Take more than that fool horse to get rid of me.
Why does this always happen at the beginning of haying season?
Just plain lucky, I guess. Just plain lucky.
বাড়ির কাছে ভরা নদী শেষে জোয়ার জোয়ার ভাটা শেষ হলে শুকনো বালুর চর বাড়ির কাছে ভরা নদী শেষে জোয়ার জোয়ার ভাটা শেষ হলে শুকনো বালুর চর ঢেউয়ের তালে তুলতে চলে আমার নাই চার চল নৌকা ডুবি খেলবো খেলা আজ দুজনায় চল নৌকা ডুবি খেলবো খেলা আজ দুজনায় আগুন মাসের আগুন জ্বলা ভরা বসন্ত ঘুমিয়ে থাকা মনটা আমার বড়ই অশান্ত আগুন মাসের আগুন জ্বলা ভরা বসন্ত ঘুমিয়ে থাকা মনটা আমার বড়ই অশান্ত প্রেমের গাঙে সাঁতার কাটলে হাতটা আমার ধর চল নৌকা ডুবি খেলবো খেলা আজ দুজনায় চল নৌকা ডুবি খেলবো খেলা আজ দুজনায় ভালোবাসার পুরুষ পেয়ে অস্থির আমি গেছি হয়ে ভালোবাসার পুরুষ পেয়ে অস্থির আমি গেছি হয়ে সারা অঙ্গ